Coming up tonight on YCN News, Newport, New Hampshire voters have the first part of their annual town meeting tomorrow night. Town spending will be discussed Wednesday evening in New London, New Hampshire. And in Vermont, the town of Windsor gets some financial help for a transportation project. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening. It's April 6th. Welcome to YCN News. From a petition to consider selling the municipal airport to mulling a $9 million operating budget, Newport, New Hampshire residents have 13 articles to review tomorrow night. It's the first part of Newport's annual town meeting when voters will debate all spending decisions. The meeting begins at 6 p.m. at Newport High School. The high school's address is 268 North Main Street. The second part of Newport's town meeting from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. is on Tuesday, May 12th at the Newport Opera House. YCN will update you on the town meeting's results. Town spending concerns continue Wednesday night in New London, New Hampshire. Beginning at 7 p.m. in Whipple Town Hall, residents can review the proposed $7.9 million town budget. Now, the Budget Committee public hearing is at 7 o'clock at Whipple Hall, Wednesday, April 8th at 7 p.m. The budget amount proposed by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee matches this year. On a related note, a reminder to area building contractors, the town of New London invites contractors to submit proposals for renovations to the town's highway garage. Just go to the Selectman's office or the Department of Public Works to review and obtain proposal documents. Proposals are due by 3 p.m. on Thursday, April 23rd. The address to remember, 375 Main Street for the Selectman's office, 184 South Street for the Department of Public Works. Turn to Vermont news now. The town of Windsor will get some financial help from the state for a transportation project. The money, a bit over $89,000, will go toward improving the visual look of the downtown region as people enter Main Street. Now, per its name, Main Street features historic buildings and locally owned businesses. The grant money will be used to improve sidewalks, lighting, and utility location. All of these changes will give a more pleasing and inviting look to Main Street. Other Vermont municipalities awarded similar grants include Rutland, Bristol, Waterbury, and Barry. Grant applications were up this year from last, says Housing and Community Development Commissioner Noel McKay. 13 communities requested nearly $1 million in funds, an 89% increase over 2014. Pat Moulton, Secretary of the Agency of Commerce and Community Development, says the grants will help make the state's downtown areas economically strong and culturally vibrant. Well, a serious car accident yesterday afternoon resulted in the driver and his passenger needing to be helped from the vehicle. The crash happened minutes before 3:30 p.m. and neither David Griswold, age 59, nor Bonnie Laporte, 48 years old, were wearing a seatbelt, say police. Both Griswold and Laporte live in Hartland, Vermont. The crash happened on I-89 southbound in Hartford, Vermont. The truck, a 2015 F-150, was totaled. The injuries are serious but not considered life-threatening, police say in a news release. Both were taken to Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon, New Hampshire. Griswold suffered injuries to his head. Laporte injured her legs and her face, and her head received cuts. The weather was cloudy and cool with clear roads. The truck went from the travel lane into the passing lane, then left the road and entered the wooded median. At that point, the truck struck a very large tree, which caused the tree to snap in half and the truck to break in two separate pieces. The cab of the truck snapped off the frame. First responders helped Griswold and Laporte get out of the truck. The accident remains under investigation. Anyone who witnessed the crash is asked to contact Trooper Nicholas Arlington at 802-234-9933. Coming up on YCN News, Walpole, New Hampshire is looking for volunteers to help out with their reuse trailer. The Muskoma River Valley Greenway campaign receives donations, and it's another mixed day weather-wise to start our week. Mike Bazzone will have a check of our forecast when YCN News returns.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. Well, YCN's focus remains on local news on both sides of the Connecticut River, which brings us to our next story in Walpole, New Hampshire. If you can spend some time at the town's reuse trailer on a Saturday, it would be greatly appreciated by town officials. Volunteering any amount of time on Saturday between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. will help improve the environment and help friends and neighbors in need. Proceeds from the reuse trailer go to the Fall Mountain Food Shelf. And the Muskoma River Greenway is the top vote getter in the Dan and Witz election, with a total of $5,000 donated on behalf of the MRG. Posting the news on the Lebanon discussion list, MRG Campaign Steering Committee Chair Lorraine Kelly writes, "Sincere thanks to Dan Fraser at Dan and Witz General Store in Norwich for organizing the only election I know where all contenders were winners. And on behalf of the Muskoma River Greenway Campaign Committee, thanks to all who cast votes to Dan and Witz for the MRG, enabling them to win this election. They're looking forward to sharing the podium at a celebration on the Vermont side of the river with Windsor County Partners and the Hartford-Norwich Holiday Basket Helpers." Now, March was a banner month for the Greenway campaign. In addition to the good news coming from Dan and Witz, they reached their goal of $50,000 and needed to receive $200,000 challenge grant from the Jane Kitchell McLaughlin Foundation. They thanked Mrs. McLaughlin and thanked their generous supporters from all over the Upper Valley. They now surpassed 80% of the funds needed to make the 4-mile extension of the Northern Rail Trail a reality. Coming up next, fire safety is the topic as YCN's Lynn Solomon sat down with New London, New Hampshire Fire Chief Jay Lyon when YCN News returns.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Mike Pizzone. It looks like we're in store for a fair share of April showers this week, with a chance of rain pretty much every day until the start of the weekend. Cloudy skies will remain into the evening tonight, with a 30% chance of showers after 8 p.m. and temperatures bottoming out at about 36 degrees. Tomorrow will be very similar to what we saw today, with a high of 43 degrees, cloudy skies, and a 60% chance of rain after 2 p.m. But those rain showers could turn into flurries tomorrow evening, with a low of 32 degrees. Wednesday will bring more of the same, with a high of 40 degrees and a 40% chance of either rain or snow showers before 2 p.m. Temperatures will drop to 27 degrees Wednesday night, with snow and rain likely continuing through the evening. Now let's take a look at our community calendar to see what's happening in the area. The Hanover Garden Club will meet tomorrow from 1 to 2:30 p.m. at the Mayer Room in the Howe Library on South Street in Hanover, New Hampshire. Botanist and field guide author Kristen Ward will be on hand to discuss her book, A Look at the World of Mosses. There is no cost to attend. A gymnastics show featuring students from Lebanon middle and high schools will be held tomorrow from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Lebanon Middle School on Route 4. Donations of non-perishable food items are encouraged. The Upper Valley Cinderella Project will continue Wednesday from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at 241 South Main Street in White River Junction, Vermont. High school girls can choose from gently used gowns, shoes, and accessories for the upcoming prom season. Donations are accepted. Well, it was a busy weekend up at Dartmouth College as both the baseball and softball teams took part in doubleheaders against some tough Ivy League competition on Saturday. But perhaps the most dramatic game on Saturday was the Dartmouth women's lacrosse team's 10-9 overtime victory over Cornell. Junior Jacqueline Leto netted her third and final tally of the game just 29 seconds into the extra period on a free position goal to lift the Big Green to their first victory of the season after an 0-9 start. Senior Sarah Byron also finished with 3 goals for Dartmouth, while tying a program record with 9 draw controls in the contest. The Big Green trailed 2-0 before sophomore midfielder Tyron Deck put the home team on the board near the midpoint of the first half, and made it 3-2 moments later with her second goal of the half. Senior midfielder Frances Bird and sophomore attack Courtney Weiss also added single tallies for the home team, while senior Jessica Freider earned her first collegiate victory in goal, matching a career high with 12 saves. On the baseball field, it was all about junior Duncan Robinson and Dartmouth's 3-1 victory over Princeton in Game 1. Dartmouth's offense managed just 3 runs in the contest, but with Robinson on the mound, that was more than enough for the Big Green to clinch their 6th win of the season. Robinson struck out a career-high 8 batters and allowed just 1 unearned run in a complete game effort. He surrendered 6 hits and didn't walk a batter. Offensively, it was designated hitter Joe Puritano who provided the bulk of the damage for Dartmouth, driving in a pair of runs on a line drive to left in the bottom of the first. Dartmouth's third and final run came in the bottom of the fifth inning after senior Matt Parisi tripled to left center and scored on a wild pitch. It was all Princeton in the nightcap, however, as Luke Stryber allowed just 4 hits in a shutout 4-0 victory for the Tigers. The Dartmouth softball team came away with a sweep in its doubleheader with Cornell, winning 3-0 in Game 1 before swinging its way to a 15-10 victory in the nightcap. And finally, on an international note, Hanover, New Hampshire native Hillary Knight was named MVP of the Women's World Hockey Championships in Sweden after leading Team USA to a 7-5 victory over Canada in the championship game on Saturday. Knight led the tournament with 12 points, including 7 goals and 5 assists. That does it for sports. I'm Mike Pizzone.
Thanks, Mike. We'll have part 1 of a conversation with New Hampshire State Representative Virginia Irwin of Newport. YCN's Capital Connections' John O'Connor has that interview when YCN News continues.
The YCN News continues in a moment.